Hello, everybody. This is Mario Jenkins. My music story begins with I was around 11 years old, and I started to play the trombone in band. I inherited a trombone from my father. He had played in band, and I began playing it in band. And from there, I started taking an interest in the piano. Right there in the band room, I just started to kind of peck away at the piano a little bit. Then my parents bought a piano around 1985, I believe, or around 84 or 85, somewhere around the same time that I began to play the piano. Began to play the trombone, and I began to play the piano at home. Where, with this upright piano that my parents bought. It was an old thing. It wasn't very tuned up, but it was it was my beginning. And then in 1985 or 86, we moved from San Antonio to Florida, and Dad began the church at City Refuge in 1986. And that's when the famous Casio was purchased, and I began to play it using WCIE, sort of the radio station WCIE. I began to play music that was being played on the radio, and I bought this karaoke machine, which allowed me to record radio. And so the songs I would like, that I would hear, I'd hurry up and get a tape. I'd probably miss the intro of the song, but I'd hurry up and get a tape and hit record, and I'd record right from the radio. And from there, I would take my time and try to learn music that way. So around 1990 is when I really started to get good in terms of playing for churches and whatnot. Began to hone my skill as a songwriter. Around 88 is actually when I wrote my first song. It's a song called My Life Is Not My Own. Very powerful song, really lyrically powerful as well. And I was only 15. It just goes to show that the Most High has had his hand on my life for a long time in terms of writing songs. I may record that one day, maybe not. Then fast forward to the early 90s, I started playing for the First University Church of God in Christ, that choir, and it gave me some great experience just being able to play for choirs and being at rehearsals and learning things even about vocals and playing with other band members, bass players and whatnot, horn players. And from there, I met my wife at another church that I began to play for after university. I played for Miracle Temple, Church of God in Christ, where a spiritual father of mine, Bishop, I don't know if he's a bishop, but Pastor Lee was there. And just began to play there. I had a wonderful time, a wonderful experience there. Started to delve into some of my songwriting, even the smooth jazz stuff that I'm doing now. I started to sort of delve into that. Learned quite a few things from other musicians there during that time. One particular musician, Jarvis Brown, and I don't know whether he'll ever hear this, but he's a phenomenal organist. And some of the chords that I use to this day. I remember where I was sitting when I was watching Jarvis play those chords, and I picked them up and put them into my vocabulary. And so moved forward into the 2000s, and I did a live recording with some choir songs we did with the Greater Lakeland District, and that was a fun experience. I recorded my first instrumental work around the same time, I think around 2006 or 2004, one of those. That was a good experience going into the studio. Terry White helping me out there. Back then it was called Music to Feel. I'm not sure what his company is now, but Terry was very instrumental in helping me to understand even, things about mastering it and getting your sound right and all of that. Then I put my music down for a while. I started pastoring in 2007, and from 2007 to 2014, it was pretty much I want to call it a musical dark age, but I wasn't playing. I was playing for my church up to like the last 3 years, up to about 2011. For about the last 3 years, Kevin came and he was playing. But up through 2007 to 2011, I was playing for my own church. But I wasn't doing much recording or any sort of things like that. And I pretty much put my music down. I decided I wanted to be a pastor. I didn't want to be a musician. A lot of people that love me told me, don't do that. Continue to write music and what have you. I didn't listen. I wanted to be a pastor. I didn't want to be a musician. I thought it was somewhat dishonorable for pastors to be musicians. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was young. But in any event, some health things came, and I had to give the church up, and had an opportunity to change my career in terms of becoming an administrator, school administrator. And so I used it as a time of transition to stop pastoring. And then when I stopped pastoring, I started to play again for my father's church at City Refuge. And the music itch came back. And one person that is very instrumental in that was Chris Clark. Chris came to the church around about the same time that I came back, around 2015, 2014, somewhere thereabouts. And for a while, Chris didn't play. Now, I had heard he was a great musician because his sister was pretty much a pillar member at City Refuge, Leela Clark, who's now Leela Walker now. But he came and he sat for a while, but he'd always give me that look like, that's just there's a look among musicians where we kind of communicate. When I knew he was a musician, so I pull out all of my nice chords and transitions and things when he was around and see if he was listening, and sometimes he would be, and he kind of give me a little look like that was nice, but eventually Chris started to play with us, and he started to come up there with us, and when I tell you I learned so much from him, I can't, that's an understatement. I learned so much from Chris Clark. He had his doctorate in music, phenomenal musician. He didn't know church music. He did not know church music, but as time went on, right on up to, just before he passed, he really had gained a great understanding of church music and gospel music and sacred music. And I thank Chris because he not only taught me, but he also made great investment in my son, who is now a phenomenal bassist at 17. My son is going all over this state playing various venues and church venues and what have you. And Chris was really the first to invest in that, along with Will Gamble, who's also great and phenomenal bassist, who was really he got his start at City Refuge playing the drums and even starting out on the bass there as well. I played with some really phenomenal musicians, Chris, Will, even before that, going back to Sean McClough, my good friend, playing with him, Joe Magruder, great lead guitar player, just all these phenomenal, Larry Simpson, great drummer, Larry Davis, bass guitar player, just great people that I've had an opportunity to play with. Jamar Brown, kind of came up in the church, him and Robert Brown and Earl on the drums. These guys, we've always been blessed at City Refuge to have great musicians. My own brother, I can't forget him, phenomenal saxophonist. So, so to wrap this up, I have now somewhat come full circle, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity now to pursue my music. And the music you hear on this channel has a lot to do with all of those influences. Even if I want to name some gospel influences like Commission and the Winans, Hezekiah Walker, John P. Key, great influences on me. And I didn't listen to much secular music because I was saved. I didn't listen to much, but when I did, it was artists like Brian McKnight. Anita Baker had a great influence on me as well. That style, what they call grown folks music, that late 90s, that late 80s, early 90s R&B, Luther Vandross, they had somewhat an influence on me. Even some of the instrumentalists like Kenny G and a few other musicians. Keith Thomas, who's not secular, but he was the producer for BB and CC Winans. Great influence on me. But mainly it was Commission. I gotta say, Commission was a great influence on me musically, and you can kind of still hear that in my musical sound today. Well, all right, that's a little bit of my music story. I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I hope you enjoy the music on this channel. Be blessed, and thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your listenership. Thank you for always just keeping me up in prayer. Those of you who are close to me and have prayed for my music to flourish and for me to continue to pursue music, and I'm glad to do it. Thank you for your prayers. All right, be blessed. This is my prayer.